Okay, so how do we generate a random password easily and quickly? Now, all we need to do is we need a character set, if you like, and a symbol set. So I'm going to create a variable called char set, and this is obviously a string data, and it's just going to contain all of the characters that we want to include in our random password generation. So I want to include a set of characters that's going to create a secure, hard to brute force password. So I'm going to start with creating the alphabet in lowercase characters. So A, B, C, D, and we'll just go along. Okay, so we've created the alphabet in lowercase characters, and now we're going to do the same in uppercase characters. Okay, so we've done that. Now I'm going to create numbers. So we're going to start from 0 and we're going to go all the way to 9. Pretty simple. Now we can start to include some special characters. So for example, we could have a percentage sign, a dollar sign, a pound sign. Be careful with things like inverted commas or single quotation marks, because what you're actually doing there is you're interfering with the outside of this string, the quotation marks in this string. So we could have hashes, at symbols, greater than or less than signs, full stops, slashes. Be careful with them as well because you're escaping characters, so I'll leave that out for now. And brackets like that, asterisks, an ampersand, and that character, whatever you would call it. So you get the idea. You can include as many characters as you like, depending, as long as it doesn't interfere with these, and you can escape the characters you're inputting as well. So we could in fact include one of these and just escape that with a slash, but we'll just leave it as this for now to keep things simple. Now what we want to do is jumble up this char set. Now if you think, we want to jumble it up and then take the first, say, 10 or 12 characters. So if we jumble it up and the first character ends up as let's say a capital G, and then the next ends up as a hash, and then an 8, and then a small a, 5, 6, and a J, for example, and then this symbol. What you've then done is jumbled up the whole string. This would completely randomize this string and jumble it up. And there's a function called str shuffle. So I'm going to say generated underscore password equals str underscore shuffle. We're using this str shuffle function to shuffle a particular string, and that string is char set. So now let's go ahead and echo out generated password. In fact, what we can do, just to keep things simple, is echo out that as we're defining the value of it. So echo generated password, which is a shuffled string version of this char set up here. So now what we can do is come in here, I'm going to click generate, and you'll see that we've generated a shuffled version of the string. Now at the moment it's too long. We've got too many characters in there for the password that we require, the size of the password that we require. So what we can then do is we can say substring. The first parameter of this function is going to be the string that you want to cut down in size. Substring is basically taking a subsection of a particular string. We give it the parameter first of all, the value that we want to cut down. Then we have a start value. Remember, we're starting at 0. This is from the first character, and then we're specifying the length, which I'm going to give it a 12 length, a length of 12. So now let's click generate and see what happens. Press continue. Okay, there we go. So when we click generate, this generates a 12 character password. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure that our randomly generated password, which you can see here, I think there's a problem somewhere in here. If we have a look at this, we click generate, after a few times it seems to stop working. So this might be due to some of the characters that we've inputted inside of here that's actually stopping that working. So let's go ahead and refresh and see if we can get this to work every time. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So obviously, like I said, be careful with some of the characters. What you may want to do is apply something like HTML entities to ensure that the greater than and less than signs are not being interpreted as tags. That could be a potential issue. So for now, I'm just going to leave them out. Okay, so what we've done now is we've created a character set, if you like, which is a single string containing all the characters we want to include in our password. We've shuffled it, and then we've cut the string down to a length of 12. Now what we want to do is not echo it out up here, but we want to echo it inside of the value here. So what we can do is we can break straight into PHP tags and out again inside of here, and we can actually put some code in here, and all this needs to really do is echo out the generated password. Now if we go ahead and straight away echo this out, what happens if the user's just landed on the page? The value might have not been set yet. We might have not clicked the generate button. So what we need to do is we need to do the same thing as we did up here with the if is set underscore post generate, but what we can do is we can just take into account the fact we've created a new variable called generated underscore password. So we can say if is set generated password, then, and we're doing this all on one line. Remember, PHP works all on one line, as most programming languages do. They're interpreted on one line. So if is set and then generated password, then we can echo out the generated password. Okay, so that's as simple as that. Now what is going to happen is every time we click on the button, the value of the text field that we have next to this button is going to be updated with the value. So if we click generate, you can see that now what's happened is it's put this into the box. Every time we click on it, the generated password variable is set, so it's putting it into the box. However, if we don't, we get nothing. And if you don't use this is set to check that this value isn't this value isn't already set, you may receive an undefined variable error. So you'll have an undefined variable error, and the generated password variable obviously isn't set. So what you're doing is you're trying to automatically echo out a value that might not be set. That's why we use this is set, and then we wrap the variable in there just to double check. So that's essentially the random password generator in PHP. And we've achieved it with only a few lines of code. Essentially, these two lines here generate the actual password, and we're just checking here for the generate button when it's been pressed. So in 2 lines of code, we've generated a secure, safe password in PHP.